Hi, everybody. This is going to be really rough because I don't have time to edit or, stabilize or splice or anything. So bear with me. I think things may get a little bit better as we go on. But I just wanted to verbally go over a few important things as we start the week. And wish you all luck with everything. I hope that you are doing well. I hope you're healthy. I hope all your loved ones are healthy. Um, Okay, one thing is I'm uploading this video. I'm also going to link to the pep talk that I gave my 101 students. And I'd love if you would look at it. It's pertinent to our class. The only thing that's really not true is they're 90% first year students, and we are obviously not. But it's pertinent to us. And also those of you who teach, I love your thoughts. So take a look at that if you have a chance. But on our course website, if you go to our Canvas site, you'll see that there's a revised syllabus that's been posted, and I'm sure that I'm going to have to add to that as things come up and as I realize that there are things that need more explaining. But the first thing I want to ask you to do is look at it, and just when you look at it, make sure that you note a few things. The most important thing is that from here on out, everything is pass fail. So you have the option of doing all current and future work, post spring break work for a letter grade. And the reason you would do that is if you wanted to raise your letter grade from the letter grade that I'm going to quote to you. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you all letter grades on each of the things that you've done, and then a provisional overall letter grade. And if that overall letter grade is satisfying to you, um, then what you have to do is you have to complete the rest of the work for the course with a passing grade, and then that will be your letter grade. Um, Note, okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is a huge asterisk on that. So there's a coronavirus exception clause. If you become sick, if someone in your family becomes sick, if you have a dependent who becomes sick, if you need to be caring for someone, or if someone you live with is sick and you have to be quarantined, then you will just receive your letter grade based on the work you've completed up till that point. You don't need to complete the rest of the work, at the passing level to get that. I will just assess your grade based on what you've done. Okay, and you do need to notify me if that happens, but just bear in mind that if you get sick, you don't need to take it as a high priority to notify your philosophy professor that you're sick. You could notify me afterwards. You can notify me after the semester's over. It doesn't matter. We can do it retroactively. So, if you disappear from class, chances are I'm going to assume that something coronavirus related made you disappear because you're an especially involved and dedicated group. And I feel like I can already know that each and every one of you that would not drop off the face of the earth without comment. But should that happen, don't lose sleep over it. You and I can sort it out ex post facto. Okay. So that's the second thing. Let's see. Right. So I hope that's clear. What that basically means is everybody who's in the class right now is getting credit for this class one way or another, like period. You don't need to lose sleep over that. And what I'm trying to do is divorce our grades and our assessment from our learning process and from the kind of exploration that we're going to do of these ideas for the rest of the semester so that that can hopefully be somewhat freeing. Uh, but if you watch the video that I made for my 101 students, you'll see why I think that it would be a terrible idea to just kind of close up shop for the rest of the semester. So I'm not at all suggesting that. I want you to stay in the class, stay invested in the class. Just as a kind of a benchmark, you'll see I noted on the syllabus that the expectation for a 3 credit hour course is between 7.5 and 10 hours a week. So expect to be putting in that number of hours of work a week for that pass as opposed to fail on the pass fail portion of what's to come. Okay. All right. So I've received your answers to the survey questions that I posed at the beginning of spring break. Thank you for that. And I will assign you your groups tomorrow. Tonight, if we're lucky, but probably tomorrow. And once I assign you your groups, the first thing that you will do is you will start workshopping one another's midterm papers. So there was strong interest in doing paper revisions, and that's something that I think will be really kind of fun and productive. And it's kind of an opportunity to do that we're being given by this weird turn of events. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you a written guide for doing that together. So there'll be instructions. It's not just like get together and chat. And those of you who are in 450, the instructions won't be all that different from the pre-writing exercise that I had you do in pairs before spring break. But don't be fooled into thinking that it's therefore kind of repetitive or redundant. It's going to be a very different process, as you'll see, to go through that kind of thought process on a draft of an existing paper as opposed to doing it about an idea of a paper that doesn't yet exist. And I'm also going to, for the most part, have you working on with different partners, so with different people than the people you worked with for your initial kind of pre-writing exercise. So that's what's going to be going on this week. That's the kind of first major chunk of output that you're going to be asked to contribute this week. The second big task of the week is to choose the content for next week. So for the caucusing activity that we discussed in our live chat before spring break, I've decided to use the modules function on Canvas. So if you look on our Canvas site, you'll now see that modules have been unhidden. And I've posted a series of possible content blocks that we could investigate. So what I want you to do is go check that out, browse through the list of choices that I've proposed, and then feel free to propose your own choices. And I'll call the question of what we're doing for next week around Friday, and then we'll set a reasonable schedule for reading and discussing and for the activities that we're going to engage in together next week. Under each of the modules, you'll see that I've listed, that I've set up a discussion board that's specific to that module that I've labeled caucusing for, and then whatever I entitled that chunk of content. So what I want you to do there is go in there and register your comments. I'd really like to do this, or if we do this, I'd like to read this other thing that I know about, or I would rather die than do this, please God, no. Like whatever you think. Register your comments, your suggestions, your questions. You can also include things like how much time you'd like to devote to something. You could say like, I'd be interested in this up to say like 2 classes worth, but not up to 6 classes worth, et cetera, et cetera. So ruminate, reflect, and collaborate on the construction of the rest of the content of the course in that way. So those are your 2 big tasks for the week. 3 big tasks for the week. 1, go read that revised syllabus carefully. Let me know if you have questions. 2, once I give you your groups and your marching orders, you're going to start workshopping one another's midterm papers. And 3, get on the modules, browse through and share your thoughts and your stump speeches and your pitches and all that stuff for whichever things you think are most interesting and least interesting and so forth. Okay. Now, what am I going to be doing this week? Well, this week I'm going to be in our chat room live on Canvas every day during our usual class time. So 2:30 to 3:20 Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I'm also going to be communicating with you individually and in your groups about your paper revisions, partly giving you some comments to steer and guide your revisions, and including both individual comments and some suggestions to the group, like I think you guys would really benefit from focusing on X, Y, or Z together. And then I'm also going to be providing all of you with a projected complete grade. So grade on what you did as lead discussant, grade on your collaborative participation thus far, grade on your pre-writing exercise, your drafting exercise for those of you who are enrolled in 450. And when I do all of that, you'll be in a position to know whether you want to opt out of the pass-fail structure. And then I will be able to sort of be more present next week once I get that done and once I see how this online thing is unfolding in some more live real-time formats in addition to just that 50 minutes 3 times a week. So what we're going to do next week is we're going to try to build in more live connections, right? So more live chat, hopefully video conferencing. What I'm hoping to do is video conference once with each of you in your with each smaller group. Now exactly how we do that remains to be determined because there are more groups than there are class times. And what I'd like to do is meet with each group for a little bit longer than one class time, but that's going to depend a little bit on people's schedules with respect to their other classes I've already heard from some students in my other class who have taken on new jobs. I mean, God knows how they found a new job in this climate, but they've taken on jobs because, they're whatever. So things may come up, right? But we're going to try to do some video conferencing, not this week, but next week. And of course, when you're talking in your smaller groups, please don't meet in person unless you are close friends and you're practicing social distancing. Please do meet virtually. I think I said this to you in an email, but there is community spread in Blount County, and if there's not community spread in Knox County, there will be soon. So please do stick to the incredibly abrasive, grating, horrible, bunker-like conditions for a little while, for my sake. I mean, for your sake, because I care about you. But please do try to get that face-to-face, at least virtual connection with your small groups. We need it at this time. A friend of mine who is a curator in McClung Museum said, social distancing is physical distancing, not social distancing. And I'm taking that as my mantra. So, one thing you need to know about me, because it's going to affect how this goes, is that I have very, very little access to childcare right now. I have access to childcare for 30 hours a week. And by that, what I mean is, except for 30 waking hours, I am entirely solely responsible for my children. I'm a single parent, so I don't have anything other than 30 hours of spare time when I don't have two children, one of whom is 3.5 and one of whom is 2. So it is entirely possible that at some point, and that childcare is Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right? So it is entirely possible that at some point you're going to find me video conferencing with you like this with my phone while I'm out in the yard wrangling people to try to keep them from sneezing over the fence or something. So you just need to know that that's part of my reality now. I'm not the only person in this position. I know that many of you have dependents or are dependents of people who are at high risk, or are yourselves high risk. And I know that this is a really, really scary time, not just because of the possibility of illness, but also because of just the wrenching social upheaval and disruption of routine and disruption of roles that we're experiencing. So I really want to honor that. You can just depend upon me to give you the benefit of the doubt in this situation. And I'm grateful for your patience as I try to kind of juggle everything. Okay, please be well. Give me your thoughts, and I will see you on the live chat on Monday, and you will also be hearing from me with groups and such over email very soon. Take care. Bye.